Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Dave D Fishing. So in this video we are going to be fishing for black sea bass in Buzzards Bay. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Dave D Fishing. So in this video we are going to be fishing for black sea bass in Buzzards Bay. It is still the early half of June. I'm going to be poking around a little bit in 20 to 40 feet of water on my kayak. I'm going to show you the rig that I'm using, and also maybe a couple other really simple rigs to help you catch these black sea bass. They are pretty easy to catch once you find a school. I prefer not to use fish finders on my kayak because it's one extra thing hanging off the side and it's extra weight that I have to tote back and forth and drag around with me. But sea bass, you sort of need some sort of fish finder, cheap or expensive, whatever you want. I have a pretty cheap one. It's a Lowrance Hook 4X. I got it on sale at Bass Pro Shop. So yep, look for bait, look for the fish on the fish finder. Generally this time of year the sea bass are cruising along with schools of squid, schools of sand eels. You can find them over irregular bottom, wrecks, rocks, that type of thing. Floating objects with chains like buoys, navigational markers. Those are good places to start if you don't have a fish finder. As far as rod and reel, I prefer to use a traditional like bait casting style setup. So I have this one right here. This is my Shimano Tranx right here. I've had this thing for quite a while. It's pretty dirty. So this is the Tranx 301. So I like using bait casters from my kayak because I can do a lot of the work of maneuvering the jig and managing the reel with one hand. So I can disengage the reel to let line pay out. I can also engage it if I really want to and engage the reel, pay line out if the lure is not in contact with the bottom. Really easy to use, fits in the palm of your hand, really light for the most part. And then I'm using a 7'2" Black Hole Challenger bank. This is a medium action rod. You don't need anything too crazy. Usually when I'm fishing for fluke, I like rods rated up to 2 to 3 ounces or so. It seems to work really well. So yep, I'm going to show you the rig that I'm using a little bit later once we start fishing. And then I'm going to show you a couple really simple rigs for black sea bass. You do not have to get crazy with these things. These fish are really aggressive. Find the fish, drop bait in front of them. Most of the time you will catch them. You can use jigs if you want. But if you're bringing kids with you, or you're a beginner fisherman, or you're just trying to put fish in the cooler, high-low rigs work great with 3/0 size hooks. Sinker of whatever size you might need to hold bottom on the bottom of the rig. You can use just plain bucktails with some sort of leader material. You don't have to get too crazy. So let me show you a couple rigs that I would use if I was a beginner or just a fisherman trying to put sea bass in my cooler. Alright, so here's simple rig number 1 if you're fishing for black sea bass. This will also catch you a bunch of other types of fish as well. So if you're going on a party boat or whatever, this would be a fun rig to go about it if you're trying to fill a cooler and bring some dinner home. So the main branch right here, this consists of 30-pound Andy monofilament line. You do not need to use fluorocarbon line. If you want, you can, but it's an extra expense that you will have. Sea bass fishing can be super cheap if you want it to be. So at the bottom, we have a surgeon's loop attaching a sinker of your choice, whatever weight you might need. I usually do 2 to 3 ounces. That's usually more than enough. Then about 6 inches up, we have a dropper loop. And then I usually use a 3/0 hook. You can use octopus hooks. You can use all-purpose hooks. If you're new to sea bass fishing, or you're party fishing with friends who normally don't fish, or if you're just trying to be efficient, I would go with an all-purpose hook. For the reason being, so all-purpose hooks, A, they're cheap. B, they have these little tiny barbs here and here that help keep your bait from sliding down and balling up at the end of the hook, which also helps keep the hook point more exposed so you can actually hook the fish. So really cheap hooks. They work really well. Eagle Claw makes a bunch. Yeah, don't get anything expensive. You really do not need to. If you're using this dropper loop setup, you actually can put the hook on wrong. So you always want the hook to be facing up. So say this is how the rig's going to sit. So like this. So you can see the hook is facing up at all times. You can actually put the hook on wrong. And say you go about the other way. Just flip it around through the loop. So you can actually go like this. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. So if you pull straight up when you're fishing, the way this knot is situated, so it's going to go like that. So if you imagine you hook up, you're going to just pull that hook right out of the fish's mouth. You still will hook fish, don't get me wrong, but you're more liable to lose fish like that, pulling straight up. So make sure if you're using this dropper loop setup, you let the loop sort of settle and it will tell you which way to put the hook. And also when you're tying these dropper loops, sometimes when you're pulling it tight, the actual loop where it's coming through the center will be vertical and it'll make the loop, I'm going to try and make it look like that, will make the loop sort of go to the side, just like that. You don't want that. You want to twist the loop so the loop is perpendicular with the bottom, just like that. So it should look just like that. So see how the loop is pointing more vertical, like that? Then you can slide the hook of your choice on, and all you do is take the hook, slide it through the eye, and make sure the loop is sort of settled. See, I messed it up a little bit. So you can pull that and adjust it. Make sure you wet the knot first, and you can get it so the hook is pointing straight up when you're fishing vertical, just like that. That's what you want. So moving on with the rig. So about 18 inches up from the bottom hook, you will have another dropper loop, 2 to 3 inches long again. I'm going to remind you. And then you slide on your other hook and just make sure it's pointing upward after you slide it onto the dropper loop and secure it. So that is rig number 1 in a nutshell. Super efficient. Easy to tie. A lot of people use monofilament when they're fishing still, which is actually really efficient, and it's an easy way to go about bottom fishing for black sea bass, really whatever fish you might be going for, because you can just simply tie the rig onto your main line, as opposed to if you're using braided line, you might be going to a swivel and then you'll be using this setup. So just extra time. So if you want to be efficient, put fish in the cooler, this is the way to go. All right, guys, so here's method number 2 to catch black sea bass. This way is a little more fun. It's the way I enjoy catching black sea bass, and that is using bucktails. So this is a Spro 3/4 ounce, obviously pink bucktail. And this thing was like $4.90. Really cheap, work really well, and is a fun way to go about black sea bass fishing. So if you're daring enough, you can use just the plain bucktail. You will catch fish on it. You could also add things like curly tail grubs to it. If you want to add some motion, you can add this on there. I'll just throw it on there quick. All right, and this is what the bucktail looks like with that soft plastic on it. It works. They work excellent. They're proven. Lots of people use them. You can use, again, this bucktail alone, or you can set it up so that this bucktail is on the bottom and then you have another teaser on the top. So let me show you that quick. All right, guys, so like I was saying, you can add a hook above your bucktail, and you can use these little cheap squids right here, silicone squids. They really cheap. I think they're like $5 for a pack of 3. You can get the smaller ones, more in a pack for the same price. So just make a dropper loop about 18 inches above your bucktail. You will just push that dropper loop through the squid skirt, just like so. And then you will take your hook of choice. It could be, again, octopus hook or an all-purpose hook. All-purpose hooks are better because they have those bait keepers on there. And then you just slide that little silicone skirt down onto over your hook, and that it will look like that. This is another great way to put a lot of fish in your cooler. You can tip with pieces of squid. Honestly, this is one of my favorite rigs to use for black sea bass. I will use a squid skirt on the top with the 3/0 or even a 4/0 size hook. I like the bigger gap hooks to hook those fish a little bit more securely. So I'll do this on top, and then I will use a bucktail on the bottom, and I will tip with actually strips of scup or strips of fish, whatever I can get. I prefer to use strips of scup because the skin is naturally really durable. It is really resilient to those pest fish bites. If you can use squid with this 100%. That's how I started out fishing for black sea bass and fluke. This rig will also work for a fluke. Squid gets ripped off the hook really easily, and you find yourself spending time reeling that thing up, rebaiting it and dropping it back down, as opposed to if you're using strips of fish, you don't find yourself doing that because it will stay on the hook longer. And you can use gulp, curly tail grubs on these, really whatever you want, or you can use it just like that and it will catch fish, I promise you. Sea bass usually aren't too picky. So that's rig number 2. So finally we are fishing. We're out in the kayak, obviously. So on the bottom I am using a BHAG's horizontal squid. It's 3 ounces, super durable lure. This thing's been through a lot. It is 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old, I think. And then we are attaching a length of monofilament leader to it. So this is 30-pound Andy monofilament material, really cheap stuff. 18 inches above that bottom lure, we have a 3 to 4 inch dropper loop with a silicone squid skirt on there, like I described earlier, and then a 4/0 hook on there, an all-purpose hook with some bait keeper little points on there to help hold the strips of bait on the hook. And then at the top of this rig, I have a surgeon's loop attached to a snap swivel, and that's just for convenience sake. You don't have to do that. I might switch out to other lures in case I see bluefish around or something like that. Again, just for convenience. So now we are just going to cut up strips of squid. As far as the length of the strips of bait, 3 to 4 inches of stripped bait should be good. That are 3/4 of an inch wide to an inch wide. That should be perfect. You don't need any more than that, really. So just put one of the ends of the strip bait on. You can sort of double it over on itself at the top edge of that bait just to help secure it and keep it from flinging around on there. Again, I prefer to use strips of fish, preferably scup. Skin's really durable. And same thing on the bottom. We are going to put some strips of squid on there, 3 to 4 inches long. Don't need to go too crazy. Okay guys, so to use this setup, all you do is let your line pay out, and you keep letting it go until you see slack in the line, and that slack in the line indicates that your bait is on the bottom. And you could go ahead and gauge your reel and just keep tension with that jig. And all you want to do is lift that jig up every 2 to 3 seconds or so and let it go down and smack the bottom. If for whatever reason you lose contact with the bottom, pay out a little bit more line. I wouldn't, if you're drifting, I wouldn't go more than a 45-degree angle. If it goes beyond or greater than that 45 degree, I would put on something heavier as far as weight, or I would just reposition and recast again or redrop, just to make sure you're not too horizontal with the bottom, because that will cause you to get snagged and get debris on your lures, and you don't want that. So sea bass are mainly bottom fish. You might catch them mid-water column if they're really chasing stuff like squid or sand eels, but mainly you want your bait on the bottom. And I am also hoping for fluke on this trip. I'm not really hopeful to catch one, but same tricks apply. Make sure your lure is on the bottom. So as far as what a bite feels like, you usually feel a couple good thumps on there. After the second or third thump, I usually set the hook. That's usually a good time. Hopefully it's not. Oh, there we go. Short. That ain't a scup. So these things at sea bass have to be 16 and a half, I believe, to keep. I don't think he's a keeper, but we're gonna check. I actually think he's short, but nice. 15 3/4. At least the fish are here, though. Might be a short sea bass, maybe. Hopefully I'm wrong and it's a fluke, but I don't know, it feels like a sea bass. Ooh, that might be a keeper. Maybe. It's gonna be close. Yep, he is 17 inches, so we're on the board. It's a nice little sea bass. We're gonna put him on the stringer. All right, guys, so here is the 17-inch sea bass I just caught. So really nice looking fish. You got the nice bump right there. This is a male, and sea bass actually change sexes, so they will change from female to male, or I believe it's just female to male. So there you go, nice little fish right here. I'm gonna put him on the stringer. Man, a lot of sea bass down there. Lots and lots. Ooh, all right. He's really skinny, I'm not keeping that. Really skinny fish, don't want that. Oh, all right, guys, so I just caught a scup, and he is 11 3/4 inches. So we're going to use him for bait. My absolute favorite bait for fluke and sea bass is strips of scup, because it's super durable. I think I said it earlier. Stays on the hook forever, and you could keep fishing rather than messing around with this junk. So I bought this squid at my local bait store, and it is mush. It is absolute garbage. It's only been thawed out once, so I know it wasn't me. I took it out of the freezer this morning, and it is trash. I'm not buying that again. But scup will stay on the hook forever, so let me dispatch him and fillet this thing and get him on the hook. So I filleted up that scup, and I'm gonna put strips of it on the hook. So you don't need massive strips. 2 or 3 inch long strips like this will do. And put the point of the hook through the skin, the meat side first, and just press it through. That is the easiest way to do it. This will stay on the hook for a long time, even through all the fish pecking at it. It should work great. Let me get one more strip. Yeah, just cut long strips, just like this right here. I know it's not pretty, but it's not meant to be, it's bait. And press it on the hook. That is, oh, something just jumped right there. And that is it. You don't need a super long piece off the back. Keep it nice and simple. And we drop this down, jig it the same way. Yeah, I decided to go a little bit deeper. And it seems to be paying off, so... Oh, that's a good fish right there. It's not huge, but definitely an eater. So again, I'm still using the scup strips. Seem to be doing the job, so working pretty well. Here's that sea bass I just caught. Nice, beautiful blue to them. I love these fish, and they taste awesome. So I can keep one more of these, and that's it. Good day today, though. All right, he's over 16 and a half. He's like barely over 16 and a half. Still nice fish, though. Very nice. You can keep one more. Wow. What's up with this thing? Never seen anything like that before. That's weird. Yeah, a lot of shorts. Oh, that might be an okay one. Oh, that might keep, maybe. So I got strips of pogie on there because I caught some, which is fantastic. Let me see. So he has to be 16 and a half. I think he is, hold on. Oh yeah, 16 and a half on the dot. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video where I went fishing for a black sea bass and tried for fluke. I didn't get any fluke today, but it is what it is. So got a nice stringer, black sea bass. So I got my limit. Yeah, so there's 4 there. I got, they're not nothing huge, but the other day I caught a 20 and a quarter inch black sea bass. Nothing like that today, but had a fun day. Got some pogies, got a bluefish, saw some stripers, so that's a win in my book. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.